This is the Power Platform Daily Brief from CRM Audio for Friday, May 3rd, 2019. What you need to know about the Power Platform today in 10 minutes or less. I'm Brad Kuntz. Today, we'll talk to Jonathan Yunt for the Friday Power Conversation. But first, a few headlines. Yesterday, Microsoft announced that the Azure Active Directory groups will be able to manage a user's app and data access. And the reason this is important is because this applies to Dynamics 365 and the Common Data Service. Microsoft went on to say that the administration of app and data access for Microsoft Dynamics 365 for customer engagement and the Common Data Service has been extended to allow administrators to use their organization's Azure Active Directory groups to manage access rights for licensed customer engagement and Common Data Service users. I know this has been a pain point that has been discussed on this show in the past, and so I know we're excited about seeing this coming down. There was a caveat there that said sharing Power Apps to team members of Azure AD Groups will be coming soon, so we'll see. So these enhancements will be released regionally in the next few weeks. And to check and see if your environment has been enabled, you can use your Azure AD Groups, and you can simply go to the settings, check security, look at teams from the drop-down list, and it'll be listed there. So that's a nice enhancement. So if you have been living under a rock this week, you might not have heard that Microsoft is now a company with a $1 trillion market cap as of the recording of this podcast. But Satya Nadella says, do not rejoice. And many news services have talked about this. I think Bloomberg Business Week did a fantastic job with a very low fluff accounting of how Microsoft got there. One of the funny quotes about Satya's feelings about this was he said, quote, "This is not meaningful, and any rejoicing about such an arbitrary milestone would mark the beginning of the end." Obviously, in this community, we've heard about the culture change that took place at Microsoft. We've talked about the push to cloud. But what I found interesting in this article was this little nugget about Justin Althoff, an engineer turned sales executive who used an army of sales engineers to help steer this change. So previously, Microsoft sellers would be selling licenses based on seat count, and the article goes on to talk about how it made the sellers and the customers feel like Microsoft was acting more like an IRS auditor. Bloomberg goes on to say that Althoff added 3,000 sales engineers to the sales division, where they would be expected to write sample code in meetings with potential clients. The blurring of lines between engineering and sales was designed to improve Microsoft's pitch and also to expose product teams to things that the customers hated. So, speaking of sales engineers, for Friday's Power Conversation, we sat down with a sales engineer in the Power Platform space, Jonathan Yunt. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us here for the Friday Power Conversation.
Morning, Brad. Thanks for having me.
We are in somewhere in sunny California having a Starbucks coffee, and we'd like to ask you the 7 questions. We usually don't get to 7 questions because we try to keep this podcast under 10 minutes. So,
all right, let's go.
So we'll give it a shot. The recent spring release announcements, what was your favorite and what do you think is going to be the most impactful for users?
I'm pretty excited for the service for AI, or AI for service. AI for sales, it's been so transformative in our engagements with our customers, and to see the preview and where it's headed, embedding so much AI into the product and into the platform, it's really going to surface a lot of information for our customers and cut out the clutter, cut out the noise, and do less CRM and more service or more sales for the users, which is the ultimate goal.
I know you've been working with
the product and the predecessor products for a long time. Talk to us about the first time you worked with Dynamics or whatever predecessor that you worked with.
I'm dating myself here, Brad. I'm going back to 4.0. I think it was 2008 or 2009 was the first time that I saw 4.0.
CRM, that is.
CRM 4.0, yep, Dynamics CRM 4.0. It was with your previous company, Customer Effective, and I was working for a Fortune 500 metal service center company, and one of our vendors was a customer of yours, Nucor, and so we did a debrief or a demo of their environment, and that's the first time I was introduced to it. I've been hooked ever since, 10, 11 years since.
And with that first version, I'd say you've been hooked warts and all from the first look.
You can't judge a book on its cover. There's you can see there's a lot of depth and intelligence already built into that product, and it's just blossomed ever since.
Right. So you do go back a long time here, so I have to ask you, do you prefer Contoso, AdventureWorks, or Fabricam?
Hands down, AdventureWorks.
AdventureWorks.
Yeah.
Why?
It just makes you think of like an amusement park or a theme park, and just fun. And that's to me, that's what I bring to the engagements. I try to bring fun and a little bit of lightheartedness, and obviously we're here to conduct business and be productive, but it's fun to be having fun while you're doing it.
Right. And I think AdventureWorks has maybe an outdoor gear subsidiary
exactly.
where they make bicycles and backpacks and things like that.
The bicycle was a favorite product or widget of mine to use, definitely.
And Contoso to me always felt almost evil, like Big Brother.
The Empire.
They were too big.
The Empire. Yeah. You definitely saw they had the red lightsabers, not the blue or the green.
What is your favorite travel tech?
Having a young family, I like to have, so when I'm on the road, I like to be able to kind of monitor the security of the home. So I've got a mobile app for my alarm system, and then we also have a little Big Brother-ish. We have the security cameras inside, like the Nest.
Right.
So I enjoy that. That kind of keeps me connected to the family. And of course, FaceTime. FaceTime is great because you can actually interact and see the faces, not only the voices, but see the emotions, the smiles, the I'm angry, I'm happy. It's great.
Right, that's great.
Yeah.
What is your best mobile productivity hack?
I'd have to say probably voice to text. I use Siri, I use Cortana quite a bit, especially when you're out in the field. You don't have the time to necessarily write down with a pen and paper or, jot on your laptop or even on your mobile phone or tablet. The voice to text capabilities that come with a Siri or a Cortana is a real time saver, and it's top of mind. It's fresh. We've engaged with a couple of healthcare providers where they're saying that they're struggling with time to chart. And you think of something that is so critical in healthcare providers, gathering vitals, gathering different measurements of a patient's well-being, that time to chart is essential. And for me, I know it's a great hack, but I see it being extremely helpful and important for our provider customers as well.
And it works now, because I remember building some prototypes a few years ago, and the back-end technology had not learned yet how to tell dialects apart and things like that, and now it just seems to work regardless of which of the 4 or 5 major voice to text platforms.
Lockstep, yeah, I'd agree. And obviously there are some caveats to that. There's if English is a second language, it's hard to break the different speech patterns and the inflection. It works a lot better with English as a first language, but we're seeing even more advancements with that, and it's so exciting to see how that's going to progress the platform and life as a mobile individual.
Next question, a professional question. Is it pre-sales or is it sales engineer? What do you prefer?
You can call me either, just don't call me late to dinner. Yeah, to be honest, it's a little bit of both. Some days you're doing pre-sales, and some days you're a sales engineer. When I'm deep in a product, in the platform, and when I'm configuring and importing data and changing forms and fields, you feel like a sales engineer there because you're actually working with the product. And some days you're not doing that. You're on site with a customer. You're gathering requirements. You're trying to understand their business pains and requirements and translate that into solutions and seeing how you can use the technology to help their pains. So I'd say it's a little bit of both.
All right, Jonathan, so this next part is a thing we call buy or sell.
Buy.
Or hold. You can hold.
I'd say buy to all.
All of them.
Yeah, I'm a seller.
You don't even know what I'm going to say, right? First, non-developers writing Power Apps. Is that a buy, sell, or hold?
That's a buy.
Buy?
Yeah, it's a big buy. There's so much. You look at the other platforms that we compete against. You think of Salesforce. Pegasystems is a big one that we're up against, and their mantras, their big push is citizen development. The fact that it's low-code development, that it's more configuration than customization. I'm entirely for non-developers. Yeah. So buy.
Buy.
Yes. Long story, a little bit longer.
Power Platform licensing. Buy or sell?
Ooh. Hold.
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 You're gonna hold? Maybe
hold.
kick the rock to somewhere else.
Yeah. Let a licensing expert deal with that.
Right.
That's
right.
not me.
That's it for the Power Platform Daily Brief today. Power on.